episode 75, emergency episode, which just happens to be the Barry Zito episode 75. Welcome
to the Scott Alexander episode.
Okay, Scott Alexander.
We're here too.
Welcome in to the Bench is Clear podcast, where we cover the best rivalry of all of sports. I am Jesse Gutierrez, and I represent the side of the San Francisco Giants, who just picked up Kris motherfucking Bryant, and that's why we are here today.
And I'm Tyler Coe, representing the Dodgers, who officially have traded for Max Scherzer and Trea Turner. Officially, just a little bit better than Kris Bryant. A little bit better.
Just a little bit better. Damn, kicking and screaming. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, I mean, we've talked about who we think we should get. Obviously, Max Scherzer was on the top of both of our lists. But if we were looking for position players, my go-to was Kris Bryant. I didn't think it was going to happen. I thought it was going to cost more than he cost. Despite some reports coming in that he cost a shitload, which we'll get into a second. But let's just bask in the fact that at third base tomorrow, we're going to be seeing, well, when you're listening to this today, we're going to be seeing Kris Bryant in a San Francisco Giant uniform. What a beautiful thing.
Yeah, it's gross. Disgusting.
Which I think really adds to the makings, because the makings to a championship team are obviously looks. And when you got the hottest manager in baseball, and then you add Kris Bryant's beautiful face over there at third base, I mean, he'll probably play left field because when LaGoya comes back. But
let's relax. First of all, let's acknowledge today Corey Seager, the most handsome man in baseball, is coming back.
He's no
shortstop. And second of all, Trea Turner is pretty damn good looking. So let's relax.
I'm not saying that he's ugly. I'm just saying when you got the varsity quarterback, Kris Bryant. That's all. That's all you need. We're just a couple of girls talking about looks. That's all that matters. We don't know about sports. I don't know, dude. I'm so fucking happy. It was literally at the buzzer beater. Farhan is the shit. I mean, we're going to break down this trade, but it was really nice to see the last minute getting. I would want to. I mean, Trea Turner is a better baseball player. Yes, I understand that. But he wasn't exactly believed to be on the market. I thought it would cost a lot. So this is the top hitter on the market, I believe, that was believed to be available. So, and Giants got him. So first place team.
Trea Turner is a better hitter, but. No, I mean it fills a glaring hole for you guys. Mm-hmm. And when Longo comes back, then you can put him in the outfield. I mean, it makes sense. I want to hate Kris Bryant just because, the back-to-back years in the NLCS and now he's a Giant.
Right.
But Kris Bryant just seems like the nicest dude. Like I can't hate him. I mean, I'm not going to root for him, but he just seems like such a good dude, so I can't hate him. So I'm really upset that he's a Giant. And he's a good ball player too, which,
That helps. That helps the looks. Yeah. One thing that we do have to break down, some incredible work on Twitter today. Incredible work. It was first
fuck Twitter
to be believed that the return for Kris Bryant was Joey Bart and Lamont Wade Jr. When I saw this, because when I saw it, it was tweeted by a blue checkmark, John Swartz, a senior writer somewhere. So I was like, oh shit, there's no way. Kendricks better be attached to this trade or else this is bullshit. Right. But then it came out via, I saw Ben Kaspick tweet about it, that it was tweeted. It started by someone at Harper Season tweeted it. And it was one of those with the Jeff Passan,
the fake Jeff Passan,
a fake Jeff Passan. So people should have saw through it, but oh my gosh, it was mentioned on MLB Network. It was mentioned on the top baseball podcast in, I guess, baseball podcasting right now, Talking Baseball. They were talking about it. So many people got fooled. It's just incredible. I can't believe it.
Yeah. All these fake Jeff Passan accounts really piss me off because really now you have to do the work. You have to really look at the username, not just the headline name.
You have to do the work. Like it's so hard to make sure there's two S's and one A.
It's annoying. All I'm saying is You have to do the work, and everyone should know by now that you don't believe anything unless the real Jeff Passan says it.
Yeah, right. And I think people are given too harsh of a critique of Ken Rosenthal because people are saying you shouldn't believe his tweets. He never said that Max Scherzer was going to the Padres. He said that the Padres and the Nationals have a deal and they have to work things out and they're nearing a deal. Other teams are still believed to be involved. And he was right.
Yeah. I listened to an interview with Andrew Friedman that just got posted about an hour ago. And they were asking about the Padres deal. And they were asking, when that kind of reporting came out, did it really kick you guys into gear? And they're like, no, not really. Like, we kind of had our idea from the get-go, and we were just,
right.
chipping away at it, like Andrew Fleeceman does. He's not gonna be a bitch. He's not gonna get punked by AJ bitch Preller. Okay, that ain't gonna happen.
Yeah, fuck that, dude. Another thing too, I've seen a lot of people on Giants Twitter talking about how Farhan swindled the Cubs and how they gave up nothing for Kris Bryant. You obviously don't know about prospects. They gave out some solid fucking prospects. They really did. Alexander Canario, who Bob Nightingale likes to call Alexander Camargo. How is he an actual sports journalist if you don't even write that? Like, yeah. It's just so crazy to me. There's no fucking like accountability. Like, how do you not say that? Like, I don't delete the tweet, fix it.
Which got me really fucking mad because when I read that, I was like, oh my God, they did get him for nothing. They got him for fucking nothing. Right. And then I was like, there's nobody named that. Yeah. So it must be Canario.
Yeah, which I've been talking about Alexander Canario, screaming about him for a minute. Caleb Killian is a guy that we haven't talked about much on here because he started making his ranks when the Giants were good. So I've not really talked too much about prospects, more talked about what's going on with the major league team. But Caleb Killian was the first pitcher that Farhan drafted for the Giants. The first 8 rounds of the 19 draft were all position players. He was the first pitcher. His first year in the minors, which obviously 2020 he didn't pitch. So in 2020, when they started him high A, he fucking destroyed, promoted him to double A, and he was killing it there. So, I mean, I would imagine he would eventually go to triple A by the end of the year in his first season pitching. He's a legit dude. He is no joke. I'm bummed that they let those guys go, but you can't give up nothing and expect, even for a rental, and expect Kris Bryant. They kept on to their top guys. They kept their top guys. I'm very happy with the trade, but at the same time, it's like, and that's my feeling about it.
But aren't you like super stoked? Because you were talking yesterday. I think we were talking that you were saying it might cost someone like a Seth Corey, who was like your number 5 prospect.
Yeah.
And Canario, what was your number 9? And then
but the problem
other dude
with
was
Canario,
your number 30.
Right. But the thing is, I would have rather given up a Seth Corey because here's the thing. What happens lately is really what fogs, your memory. Seth Corey is really struggling at high A this year. Really struggling. So, but then again, you'd be selling him low. So they probably didn't, they probably would rather have a Caleb Killian who is destroying right now. Canario is one of those, for people to understand who don't, pay attention to prospects. The reason why Tatis was traded to the Padres is because he wasn't Tatis at the time. He was just some 16-year-old kid, and they didn't know how to rank him because he's so young. Alexander Canario is a 19-year-old kid, and they don't know how to rank him. I mean, he's not a Tatis level type guy, but he is better than what he's ranked right now. He has the potential to be an all-star player. Still more work has to be done. Obviously, he has a lot of swing and miss, but he's a very, very, very good player. But he also cost a 40-man spot because he was signed so early. So, I'm not bummed on the trade. I'm very happy with the trade. I think it's a great trade. But following those two guys, Canario for the past couple of years, Killian this year, it's kind of just like a, But anyways, you know what I mean?
But you guys kept Luciano, Joey Bart, Heliot Ramos,
right.
And
they weren't going to trade Bart for anyone less. Yeah. they wouldn't trade Bart for anyone less than, that has at least 2 more years after this year.
Yeah,
I think he was on the table. There's some rumors that Zaidi is not huge on Joey Bart, because he's not one of his, high on base guys. He has some holes in his swing. So I think they were open to trading him, but they're not going to trade him for a rental guy. That's not valuing your prospects right. And Farhan is he's just a man. He's not going to get swindled like that. You know what I mean?
I mean, he is a product of my boy Fleeceman.
So he's not a product of it. I'm sorry. Ever since Farhan left the Dodgers, their under the radar guys haven't panned out. Now. Sheldon Noisy, boom, dud. Who else did they pick up for nothing? I can't think of anybody else right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who else did the Dodgers pick up for nothing? Oh, once Farhan left.
Just this year. The only one that's going to mind is Sheldon Noisy, and he's not panning out. McKinney sucks.
As far as I know, Farhan didn't even want Max Muncy. He was like, let's not go for him. And Andrew Friedman was like, I'm going to stop right there. I'm going to put my hand on your chest. Fuck you. I'm going to go get my guy.
The guy who came from the A system, who was, that was Farhan's system at that time.
Didn't even know
and then
he
brought him to the Dodgers.
No, I don't think even think he knew who he was.
Right.
Well, something I thought that was interesting is, I feel like the Giants are going to have a similar situation to the Dodgers in a couple of years with their catching prospects, where maybe you're going to be able to trade one away and get a pretty good return because you guys have 2 elite catching prospects.
Right.
So the NL West is going to be real shitty for the next couple of years.
The NL West is going to be a dogfight. I mean, the Dodgers have always seemed to draft very well, even though they've been drafting later in the draft. Yeah. And Farhan has these under the radar guys, plus he's been drafting very well. And the Padres are at the top of their rebuild. I think they're going to fall faster than it took them to come up because they're already falling apart, in my opinion. But that's also just me fucking hating the Padres and having nothing. They have nothing to show for it, and they have all this praise. It's so stupid. But it's just going to be a dogfight. The Giants are going to be a powerhouse in 2 years. I mean, when Luciano's up, oh my god, game fucking over.
Yeah, Luis long Matos, gone are the days of the NL West being the weakest division in baseball.
Yeah, it's going to be intense. I mean, before we move on to the rest of the league, because there's so many trades that I love to just touch on really quick. I know this is supposed to be a short emergency episode, but it might not even be short because so much shit just happened today.
It's the craziest trade deadline since in my 30 years of life on this earth.
I can't remember this crazy of a trade deadline. I mean, I don't know if it's just because people are more willing to give up mid-range prospects, and teams are realizing that you're not going to get a top prospect, so they're more willing to take them. Plus, they want to get something, for their rentals, because I mean, after you get the sandwich picker in the first round, I think you have to go directly to a second round. So it's like you might as well get a guy who is decent, who is already playing in the minor leagues a little bit, than take a chance with a college kid. So I don't know, or maybe it's just the 2020 season. I don't know. I don't know what it is.
I also think, dude, a lot of teams feel like they're still in it with 60 some odd games left. I mean, look at the NL East. The Mets went all in because I feel like they think, look at what the Braves did, look what the Phillies did. The Phillies and Braves think they can catch them.
And it's possible, but before we get into I do have to mention, before we get on to the rest of the league, really quick, let's talk about the Tone Ranger coming back to San Francisco. Tony Watson is coming over for Sam Selman and a couple of low level prospects, not in their top 30, but it is Jose Marte and Ivan Armstrong. It's a little head scratching because Tony Watson's numbers aren't good this year. He's not having a good year. And they didn't give up a whole lot, but they gave up more than I would imagine for Tony Watson. But with Farhan fashion, man. It just seems like every guy they get with a 4 ERA just comes over and fucking shoves. I mean, i.e. fucking DeScalfani, i.e. Kevin
Except
Gausman.
when he pitches against the Dodgers.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, you can fuck yourself. That's true, but still, he's still a great pitcher. So I don't know. I'm expecting good things. Tony Watson in a Giant uniform has been fucking shut down. So I'm excited to have Waddy back. Tone Ranger, best Players Weekend jersey in Giants history. I love him.
And an interesting stat that we both learned: Tony Watson has the most holds in MLB history.
Big facts.
That's a pretty good 7th or 8th inning guy to have.
Right, and it's also a thing of veteran presence in a locker room. What that does, obviously, he was popular in that locker room to bring him back. So I don't know. I really hope he obviously I hope he does well for a number of reasons, but one of those reasons being I really like the guy. So hope he does great.
Yeah, whatever.
Now we can talk about around the league.
Yeah. Let's jump into it. I think the first thing we want to talk about, I know you really wanted to talk about it. Trevor Story staying put. John Gray staying put. The Rockies GM and AJ Preller are, going at it for who's the worst in the NL West.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like it's a tie. They both are terrible.
Right.
Dude, how do you not find someone? And it was, before the Kris Bryant trade, there was a lot of talk about Story going to the Giants, and I was like, that just seems like kind of a weird fit. But I mean, as time goes on, the price has to be pretty low with only 30 minutes left until the deadline. Like, I guess I could see it happening. But dude, you have to think there were teams that were willing to give up a decent amount for him. Maybe not the haul that you want for him, but now you're just going to get a pick.
Right.
When he doesn't accept the qualifying offer.
I was listening to Talking Baseball earlier today, and they were saying that Gray is only going to bring him back a comp pick between the 2nd and 3rd round. I'm not exactly sure how they work that out. I would imagine Story gets them a comp pick from between the 1st and 2nd round. So I don't know. I'm not knowledgeable on exactly how that works out, but I can't imagine the Giants weren't willing to give up at least a decent prospect, maybe even a Sean Jelly for John Gray. Why would you not take that? I don't understand that. Doesn't make any sense.
There's no way John Gray's going to take the qualifying offer. I think he's pitched well enough this year to get above the qualifying offer and get a multi-year deal, and he doesn't have to pitch at Coors Field anymore. No way he sticks around. And obviously Trevor Story is going somewhere else. Right. We've known that for a year. And I saw something interesting that they were saying the Rockies front office was very apprehensive to trade him for something that didn't seem like a huge package in return because of what they went through with the Arenado trade. Right. And it's so just be better. Just go get something better. Right. Don't give Story away for free. You got to be able to get at least a top 15, top 10 guy.
Right.
But now you're risking that for a 2nd round comp pick.
Better. Skate better.
Yeah. So that might pay off in 5-6 years.
But think about it. I think that they would have gave up a Jelly for John Gray, and Jelly was their 2nd round pick. You haven't been doing picks better than the Giants in years. Yeah. Just copy their test. Take him. Yeah. I don't get it. So, yeah, I don't know. So that was probably the biggest miss. I don't know. We'll talk. We'll get into that later. We're gonna give out an award for who lost this trade deadline. But it's crazy that everyone from the Cubs has gone to me. Baez, Rizzo. If you're a Cubs fan, if you're a Nationals fan, you're bummed. But would you rather to jumpstart the rebuild now, or would you slowly rip the Band-Aid off and maybe keep Rizzo, which technically you could still sign him back. You could sign Bryant back.
I think one of those guys comes back. I don't think it's going to be Baez. It's going to be either Rizzo or Bryant, or maybe both. Yeah. I think Baez is going to sign with the Mets after the season.
Listen to me, Cubs fans, please Killian and Canario are great. I legitimately think they're going to be major leaguers, and they're going to be worth, for you guys whose season is dead, worth the trouble of being sad seeing Kris Bryant leave for half a season that you're not even going to compete in anyway. So I don't know the other returns. I don't know their prospects, but I just know what you got from us has been great. And Nationals fans, you could tell them about Josiah Gray and Ruiz, but
yeah, and well, the Cubs too, getting Nick Madrigal, that's huge. That's a nice return for Craig Kimbrell. You're gonna have
from your crosstown rival. Take them.
And with dudes like Patrick Wisdom coming up this year and producing, I mean, your infield is gonna be all right.
Yeah, take care of Matt Duffy, my guy.
But yeah, I mean, Nationals fans, Josiah Gray, MLB ready starting pitcher. He a great dude.
Ceiling of a great pitcher too. Ceiling. Yeah. He's not just like an MLB pitcher. That's like, I believe, his floor. His ceiling could be.
Yeah, he could be an ace.
But yeah,
he could be. It's possible. That's true. Then Keibert, dude, a power hitting, switch hitting catcher. Come on, like,
don't be too sad.
That's huge, And I mean, the Nationals sold the entire fucking team. They got rid of everyone. So you're gonna have a lot of young dudes. Yeah.
Get rid of all. The only one that should really hurt is Trey Turner, because he was going to come back next year. But
yeah,
sell all your rentals. If you're not going to compete this year, get rid of your rentals.
Yeah, of course.
Do it. Both of our teams made huge moves, answered a lot of huge questions. On my side, not exactly all the ones I liked. If there's one thing that you wish, Freeman would have done and what Zaidi would have done, we'll go your side first, Tyler. What move was not made?
Well, if you're asking me what I wish Farhan would have done,
no,
wish you would have got Kris Bryant. I know. I was just being a dick. I mean, dude, I don't think the Dodgers needed an elite bullpen arm. I don't think they needed Craig Kimbrell. It would have been nice.
Right.
So I think, realistically speaking, a bullpen arm would have been nice. However, we don't know what Danny Duffy is going to do. And Danny Duffy gives them that flexibility to put Gonsolin in the bullpen if they want Duffy to be a fifth starter. But definitely going into the playoffs, Danny Duffy's not going to be a starter. So he's going to be your bullpen guy.
Right.
So I don't know if they could have done much more.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, someone like an Ian Kennedy would have been nice. But, I mean, it looks like they wanted to package him and Gibson together, and we certainly don't need Gibson. So,
right.
I don't know. Or, like a Raziel Iglesias would have been cool. And there's rumors that the Angels might have been shopping him. I don't know how much truth that is.
Right.
So with Duffy, and I don't think we touched on it. You and I were talking about it earlier. With the player to be named later, you were saying that it's not a traditional.
Correct.
It's kind of like a Trey Turner when the Padres traded him after drafting him. A draftee
That's just a rumor.
Has to be with the organization for so long.
Right.
So it's probably going to be a draftee from this year.
Because we're just stealing from this, so you got to give credit. From reports that they were talking about on Talking Baseball, that's just not your normal player dump for the player to be named later. So I was thinking it had to be like the Trey Turner situation. So that was to be said. I mean, it could be wrong. It could come out that it literally is just a player dump. So, I mean, no matter what, unless it's the first round pick, it's still pretty much a fleece, I think.
Yeah. So, and realistically speaking, I don't think Andrew Friedman could have done anything more. I think we gave up the perfect amount of. I mean, obviously, I wish we could have given up nothing for Max Scherzer and Trey Turner, and that's just not realistic.
Exactly.
But we kept a lot of important prospects, and we filled the holes that we needed. So I don't know. I gave him an A+. I don't really think there's any glaring holes.
For us, I would have to say that they should have added a starting pitcher. I wish it would have. I mean, obviously, you want the Max Scherzers, but even if you don't go there, I don't know what the fuck happened with the Rockies with Jon Gray. They were believed to be interested in Jon Gray, and they wanted Jon Gray. So I'm really bummed that didn't happen. But other than that, exceeded expectations for the right-handed hitter. I would have liked, obviously, would have loved the Craig Kimbrel, but I love me some Tony Watson. He was great in a giant uniform, having a bad year this year. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, wish we would have got a legit starting pitcher. That's pretty much it for there. So now to look at winning and losing, right? That's always the question when it comes to the trade deadline. We're not going to talk about throughout the league. Let's talk about what really matters. And I think no matter what, your answer would have been the same. Who won this trade deadline, Tyler?
The Los Angeles Dodgers. 100%. Objectively speaking, best trade deadline in the league.
Right.
Objectively.
I think the only other argument you can make the winner of this trade deadline would be either the Nationals or the Cubs, if you want to argue prospects, because they got rid of a lot of rentals, got a lot of money off the boards, and added some prospects. But
the Blue Jays and the White Sox had a pretty good deadline as well.
White Sox, besides Kimbrel,
that's huge.
That's huge, but one bullpen piece, you're going to win the whole thing. When this pains me to say this, when the Dodgers got a frontline starter and Trey Turner as well as Danny Duffy. I unfortunately am going to have to say the same. Dodgers won this trade deadline. Honestly, when the Padres got Max Scherzer, I was like, fuck. And now I am wishing to God that it was true. Even like, I would have welcomed all the Padres shit talk because I knew they still would have finished third, even with Max Scherzer. So, yeah, super bummed. But yeah, unfortunately, it's going to go to the Los Angeles Dodgers of Anaheim. So, Tyler, throughout the league, who lost this trade deadline?
The San Diego Padres, without a doubt. And I'll tell you why. I got so many reasons.
San Diego love.
Yeah. First of all, you got the quick trigger, the fucking premature ejaculation of everyone like, oh my God, we got Max Scherzer. And there was that one person tweeting like, I'm literally crying right now. Well, you're going to be fucking crying a lot longer, you dumbass. So the fact that the Padres thought they had Max Scherzer and then he gets away, that's a loss right there. But then he goes to a division rival who's 2.5 games ahead of you in the standings, and then you add the best bat that was dealt at the deadline on top of that. That has to hurt. And
it hurt me.
Yeah, and I've seen that fucking stupid Padres kid with the beady little eyes and the dumb glasses.
Sounds like 80% of them, okay.
Yeah. Those dumbass Padre fans. A lot of Padre fans are like, oh, the Dodgers saying we're buying our team. They're not really saying anything now. That's not buying a team. That's homegrown talent that was flipped for major league talent. That's how baseball works. It's totally different than going out in free agency and buying Max Scherzer and waiting another year and buying Trey Turner. It's different.
Yeah.
Because you're willing to make the tough decision to give up your number 1 and 2 prospects. Because the Dodgers have that prospect depth. So fuck the Padres. And this idea that AJ Preller is like an incredible GM, I don't see it. I think this is kind of like when, the Padres went all in on Matt Kemp and Upton and like all those guys. And then a couple years later, they're selling everyone off. It's already kind of starting to happen. They were trying to dump Hosmer. That obviously didn't happen, but I don't see Hosmer and Will Myers on the team next year. I mean, they're going to have to be dumping some guys. So this idea that AJ Preller is like the second coming of Andrew Friedman is just not true. We already know the top 2 GMs in probably the National League are Farhan and Andrew Friedman.
Yeah. Farhan or die. If I was any other team, I would be calling to interview Scott Harris for their president of baseball operations position yesterday. If I was the Angels, After seeing what he did with the Giants pitching staff, that's what I would do. But regardless, yeah, I'm gonna have to. I was gonna go either the Rockies or the Padres. We already talked about the Rockies. So I'm gonna say it's a split between them. A little NL West bias to not move your guys of Story and Gray and think you're gonna get a decent return in the draft. Seeing the return that these guys got, everyone got, it's ridiculous to think they would have that they think that they would have got more in the draft. That it is mind blowing. I don't understand it. So I don't know what the fuck is going over there in Colorado, especially with the Arenado mix up. But I think I just want to give it to the Padres because fuck the Padres. They're still hyping them up like they're crazy about how good they are, and they're still 5.5 games out. Blake Snell is trash over there. Yu Darvish is really starting to make a turn for the worse. So, and they didn't add a starting pitcher, and they act like they want to be in this race. That's got to be, yeah, that's the biggest loss. Now I'm changing my mind. It's for sure the Padres. Yeah, they're shot. Paddock sucks, and that's the end of that. That's all I got to say about that.
That's all I got to say about that. I mean, the Adam Frazier trade, that's neat, I guess.
Decent. Yeah.
He's a great average hitter. I mean, hitting for average. But then they go and get Daniel Hudson. They go get Daniel Hudson, which I'm not impressed with.
He's a very good reliever, but they also have Mark Melancon. So you added, which is good. I'm not saying that's bad. What I'm saying, it's not going to impact that crazy.
Yeah. And then
holes in starting pitching.
They call up the Cubs, and they go after well-known cheater Jake Marisnick is now a Padre, which makes me so happy because I was able to yell and scream at him when the Cubs were playing the Dodgers a month ago. So yeah, Jake Marisnick is a non-factor,
right?
So no big deal there. But I will say this, and I know we didn't want to talk much about the league,
right?
Dude, the Chicago White Sox might be the scariest team on paper.
Really?
Yeah. Okay, think about coming to playoffs, right? So you have a starting rotation if you go with a 3-guy of Lance Lynn, Lucas Giolito, and Carlos Rodon, right?
Yeah.
Then really you have guys like Michael Kopech, Dallas Keuchel, and Dylan Cease going into the pen. And they already got Ryan Tepera from the Cubs earlier this week. And then they got Craig Kimbrell. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, their bullpen is fucking stacked, but the rotation is extremely good. But they also have off and on days. So Lance Lynn, Giants have taken him for a ride before in the postseason. It scares me, but not as much. I hate to boast your ego and I hate to blow your head up, but it doesn't scare me as much as a Buehler, Scherzer, Kershaw rotation.
See how it
doesn't
reeled you in there?
was that on purpose? You mind fucker.
Yeah, dude, it was just again best trade deadline I've ever been a part of. It just seemed like every 2 minutes it's like we got this going, we got this going, we got this going,
and not just small guys, big guys off the board. Baez, Rizzo, Gallo, fucking Bryant, Scherzer, Turner. Like, yes, I would love to compare it to other years, but this one has felt the craziest I've.
Yeah, it all pales in comparison. It's not even close.
Right.
And I'm so excited. The second part of the season starts now. Right. Now it's going to be the mad dash to the finish. And, again, I tweeted about this earlier. I've always been, I hate the wild card game. I think that's one of the worst ideas. But I think the wild card game is really fueling teams going out there and doing stuff, especially in the NL West, because no one wants that wild card game. And then also the non-waiver deadline or the waiver trade deadline being removed.
That's actually helped. Yeah. I think that's what oh my gosh, it took us 30 minutes to figure it out. We didn't understand why. This is why. Because
of course.
I don't think Bryant would have been moved. Because if they would have been like, you know what, let's see if teams get really desperate in a month if they weren't happy with that return. You know what I'm saying? I think maybe that's why Bryant waited to the last second, because it was, oh, let's see if we can get more. Let's see if we can get more. And then, they accepted what they got. But there's a couple guys that, maybe Baez and Rizzo, it's like, maybe teams will get more desperate in a month. Maybe a big injury happens and we really need to make a playoff push. I don't know, but that's what it is. I'm booking it down.
I think the other thing that we kind of glossed over, because we're so just focused on the NL West, the NL Central, dude, the Brewers are playing good baseball, and they just got Eduardo Escobar, which I'm super stoked, because the Dodgers are playing the Diamondbacks this weekend, and he was their only good player.
Right.
So there's that. Dude, the Brewers, they're already I think 6 games up in that division, and now the Cubs are a non-factor. The Cardinals are a non-factor. And, dude, the Reds didn't do anything at the deadline. Right. So it seems like the Brewers kind of locked that up, but the Brewers are a good team.
Yeah, they really are.
I think in the NL West, everyone's so focused about winning the division, so you don't have to play the wild card game. But, dude, the NL Central, the Brewers are going to be hot. I think the NL East is a joke. I'm not worried about the Mets or anyone. But.
So basically, it's going to be a Brewers and either Dodgers or Giants NLCS. Is what you're saying?
Ooh. I don't know. Maybe the Braves did enough
to redeem themselves
just to make my prediction pitching. Right.
They added a bunch of outfielders.
I just want the Braves to make it to the NLCS so I look like a genius. But the Yankees going to the World Series looks like a pretty far off chance. Even with adding Rizzo and Gallo, that's just not going to happen. So
Right.
Yeah, good trade.
So
good times.
I know this isn't a normal episode, but we do have a fuck you of the week. And I know you're really passionate about it, Tyler, so I'm gonna give you the floor. Who is the fuck you of the week today?
Fuck Joe Musgrove. Dude throws 7 innings. It's like, oh, I'm the fucking reincarnation of Cy Young, apparently. He thinks he's the best pitcher in the world. Saying that the Padres, they think they're the better team, still better than the Dodgers, after the Dodgers get Max Scherzer and Trey Turner. First of all, you weren't better than the Dodgers before the trade.
Right.
And you're certainly way further off now that the trade's been done.
And you're 5 games behind another team that's better than you.
Yeah. You're the 3rd best team in the division. And the 4th best team in the National League. So relax, Joe Musgrove. Relax.
Joe Musgrove. Fuck that guy. You can quote me on that. Brought to you by Farhan. There's nothing. The fact that it's still, people are still talking Padres and Dodgers, and leaving a team that's in first place going into August. Like, there's nothing that anyone can do that can make the Giants not first on August 1st. How do you still doubt that? It's insane to me.
I don't know. That's the thing, is Joe Musgrove is just echoing just the essence of all Padres fans. Like, despite all the facts and all the evidence, we're the best. If you disregard records and all the evidence out there, we're the best. And that's bullshit.
Right.
This is a total Padre thing. Like, dude, I posted something on Twitter earlier that caught a lot of flack where I was like, show me a Padre fan who's been a fan for longer than 5 years and I'll show you a liar. Dude, and a lot of people came out of the woodworks who are older, who I'm sure have been fans since the 80s. That's fine. But I'm talking our generation, someone who's 30 years old. Mm-hmm. Dude, I had never met a Padres fan until 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
Right.
So the fact that all these people are coming out of the woodwork and saying all
they
this
didn't show up to their own
ridiculous
stadium,
shit.
So.
Yeah.
I'm sure, there's a couple of old guys. Yeah, sure, fine. You win, old dude. But at the same time, everyone that's talking all this shit wasn't showing up to games when they were shitty. So I don't want to hear it.
Yeah. If someone comes up with that white and blue ugly shit jersey, then I know they're real.
Yeah.
But I see a lot of shit brown and piss yellow jerseys, so that's all I'm saying. 2 last things before we wrap up this episode. I don't know if I mentioned it on last night's podcast, But it looks like Max Scherzer is either going to make his Dodgers debut Tuesday or Wednesday. Hopefully Wednesday, because I'll be at the Ravine against the Houston Astros. I mean, you can't make this shit up. That's going to be great.
Right.
Max Scherzer obviously doesn't like the Astros, so it's a perfect fit. First time Dodger fans are going to be in the stands against the Astros since the whole cheating scandal. Everyone knows the story. It's going to be great. And also, Max Scherzer is, I believe, around 80 strikeouts away from 3,000 strikeouts. So it's very possible that Max Scherzer will have his 3,000th strikeout in a Dodger uniform, and that's just pretty fucking cool.
That is really cool. I wonder if the extension thing is right, if he's going to sign an extension or he's just going to wait to become a free agent because he's seeing how much people want him and thinks that people might be fighting for him. So that's another developing story that we will continue to look at.
He is going to be a Dodger for at least the next 2 years. And with that being said, this episode was brought to you by Renovation Candle Company, where candles are over 40% off. Go check them out. Keep us paid so I can keep talking shit about Padre fans on the air.
Yes, keep us fed and fat. We love it. Thank you so much for listening, especially if you listen to these 2 back-to-back podcasts. Thank you so much for the support and the new love we've been getting. Make sure to follow us on your favorite podcasting platform. Hit subscribe on YouTube. Hit that bell. It helps us grow. Write us reviews. It helps us grow. Help us out. Follow us on Instagram, Benches Cleared Podcast, Twitter, Benches Cleared P, and TikTok, just regular Benches Cleared. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you guys next week.